Hi Taurus, welcome to your July 2018 love reading. It's Rena here, and yes, the cards have already been laid out because I'm starting over again. I had a lot of environmental noise, train, really loud, and it wouldn't go away, and it was just overtaking everything, and also I was starting to lose my concentration. So hopefully I'll get through this without another interruption. In July, the focal point is represented by the Five of Wands. And I just want to say too that this particular spread is different than the one I normally do, but it's going to have pretty much all of the key elements, just in a rearranged fashion. And so if you notice with this particular, this is a Morgan Greer deck, they show different hands on different wands. The Five of Wands can be talking about conflict. But in this particular situation, since we're talking about your love life, it can be that there are other people involved in your relationship who are affecting it adversely, who are creating conflict within your relationship. So in-laws or exes, the parent, I can't stand saying baby mom or baby daddy, but the people that your partner has had children with, or maybe even that you have had children with, that they are somehow interfering with the relationship and it's creating some kind of a conflict or stress. Also, it could be with you and this person, that all of a sudden you're fighting more and there's a sense of disharmony. If you're single, this can be that you have a lot of suitors, and that sounds like an old-fashioned word, who are vying for your affection, or that you are interested in somebody who has a lot of people swirling around them. And you feel like you have to kind of get in the fray, jump in the fray to be able to impress this person. But there are other people involved. That could be what is going on as well. And so we're going to look at how the past has influenced this situation. We have the Ten of Swords. So this is a card of betrayal. Now, an example that just popped into my mind, and I've learned to tell you what pops into my mind in case it may be important to one of you or several of you, is that the first thing I thought of was someone who, it was almost like you got married, and when I say get married, I mean also move in with somebody. It could be that type of situation. And that person changed as far as you were concerned. Like it was like false advertising. They completely changed their personality traits. And you feel like you are let down by that person because it was like false advertising. And so that's one possibility. Now, the Ten of Swords in a relationship, to me, a lot of times can be cheating. And that cheating may be leading to a lot of conflict. When I was talking about false advertising, is that, let's say that you got together with a person who acted very open-minded, and then after you were really involved with them, and this is either you're married or you've moved in together and you're together all the time, they changed and they're like getting very controlling, and then that starts to like create problems within the relationship. Because whatever happened that led to this disharmony, there is probably some kind of a situation where you feel like you were let down, that you were betrayed. So cheating obviously is going to be the first thing I think of, but I wanted to also include other things. And maybe even that you didn't know how much somebody from this person's past was going to interfere with the relationship. So an ex, or even their parent, that you didn't realize that they had such a intense relationship with this parent. And that might have felt like it was kind of, I don't know, like withheld from you that this was going to be the case. The spiritual lesson to work with is represented by the Four of Swords. And so this may be that your spiritual job right now is to disengage from this individual. And what this means is that if you have the means to do so, like maybe you don't have kids, you say, honey, I am going to go to a Buddhist monastery for the weekend. And I mean like there's sometimes they have a retreat center. They do have these places, and it could be Catholic, it can be anything. And you don't have to be a follower of that religion, where they do have like inexpensive centers out in the boondocks, you know, in different states of the country, of talking about America, or I'm sure that overseas they have these as well. And you know, I was even thinking of that Vipassana, is that how you pronounce it? That 10-day meditation, that's a free thing, and I think they have those all over the world. I mean, that's kind of an extreme version. But the point is to kind of separate yourself from the drama of the situation, because the swords, I mean, once again, I just want to say here, the swords represent conflict, okay? And then you have the Five of Wands, and that card in itself indicates conflict too. But I mean, that is more of competitive behaviors and kind of fighting just like in a very aggressive way. With the swords, it's more of a mental variety, that you may be thinking too much, worrying, just having that sense of not being in a state of peace, okay? So, but what I was trying to say is that even though the Five of Wands is from a different suit, it still has a similar connotation. So, whatever it is that you're doing, spiritually, it may be time to start going within and to start maybe disengaging from this individual. Because with the Five of Wands, it's kind of like that saying, it takes two to tango. Now, I think that at first it takes two to tango. We say tangle too. But it takes two people to fight. If somebody is fighting with themselves, then we call that person crazy. And so you don't have to be part of somebody else's drama. You don't have to be a star in their own drama. You can let them fight themselves. You are looking for peace, Taurus, and you, more than a lot of signs, really crave a laid-back type of a life. You don't like this kind of thing. And so if you find yourself in that position, you may be looking for an escape. And the Four of Wands, or Four of Swords, isn't about escape. It's about retreat. There's a difference. Escape can be mindless, and the person is not really aware that there's a problem in their life that they need to solve. And so they're just looking to distract themselves. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that is really kind of a spiritual process. And I'm going to take a sip of my strawberry lemonade so I can clear my throat. So, you can do this without going away. You could do this at home. And what you would do is you would just start to disengage from this person. You're not feeding them energy. If they try to start a fight, you just leave their presence. But it's not about leaving necessarily the house or going to a different location. But you just, maybe you just go to a park or to a forest preserves or something, to a lake, and you sit and you take a pen and paper and you start to think about, if you had your ideal life, what would it look like? You're looking at your long-term goals, because in July, Taurus, you're going to have a solar eclipse, very powerful new moon, in your 11th house of hopes and wishes in Cancer. So this is the luckiest house. It's the house where we can set intentions for manifesting our dreams. And that's not just with career, it's just like your life in general. And part of that is what would make you happy. And maybe you've been focusing too much on the other person and not enough on your own needs. And I think that's what the Four of Swords is all about, is focusing on your needs, honoring your need to be alone, and also to recuperate. Maybe even physically you feel run down from the stress. The practical action steps that you can take for this situation to kind of make it the best it can be is represented by the Eight of Pentacles. Pentacles are your friend, Taurus, because you are Pentacles. So the other earth signs are Capricorn and Virgo, and they all share with you that sense of industriousness, being productive, doing things that have lasting value, bettering yourself. And in this case, this could be like strengthening your skills, focusing on new skills that you want. And the point being that you may not be able to change somebody else, but you can change yourself. And you can, in the time, if you're living with somebody and you know that it's only a matter of time before the two of you are going your separate ways, perhaps, you can still better yourself through your work life, for instance. And this allows you to feel like you're making progress. And in this case, with the Eight of Pentacles, it is connected to material wealth. So maybe you're working to gain more savings so that you can be able to be financially independent. Maybe you're doing it for that purpose, who knows. But I think the bigger picture is simply doing positive things, and it will create a momentum. If you were just sitting around obsessing about a relationship that is not working out, that would just create more negativity. And this is like trying to channel your efforts into something that is tangible, that makes you feel good. The thing that is, trips you up, creates a bit of an obstacle to accomplishing what it is that you're looking for, is represented by the Eight of Swords. This is a card of feeling oppressed, feeling like you can't move from your situation, feeling trapped. Now, the interesting thing about the swords, Taurus, is that they connect to thoughts. And in life, it seems to be so much the case that a lot of our angst, if you will, that anxiety, that sense of not being able to do something, comes from our own limited perspective. and our self-limiting thoughts. The more you can believe in yourself, I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's so true. The more that you can feed yourself, just like you feed your body, feed your mind and soul with good things, with good thoughts, with empowering ideas. And you can rip the chains that bind you. It's interesting that those cards, one on top of the other, are both eights. 8 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords. Because the number 8 is a number of power. You know, if you've seen the Magician card, it is a sideways 8 that is the infinity symbol. But a lot of people connect it to the number 8. And 8 is a number of power, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a sense of power, and not outward power, inner power. Because with the 5 of Wands, Taurus, this can also be a sense of competitiveness. If you happen to be with someone who you found out too late really has low self-esteem and has been discouraging you from really accomplishing things in life. Maybe they're jealous, they're envious of your success. And rather than deal with that, sit with that, they want to tear you down, make you feel less than, make you feel like your accomplishments are not really that big of a deal. If you have been with a person like that, it's easy to get caught up in this thing of trying to prove that you really are worthy. And what you don't want to do is to do that, because you actually give away your power when you try to prove that. The best thing that you can do is recognize when people are working against you, so that you can kind of see them a mile away and cut them out of your life. And so I had wanted to say that at the beginning, and I kind of got sidetracked in something else, but that was another thing that came up with the 5 of Wands for me, is this idea of a competitive relationship. What's coming in is represented by the King of Pentacles. This can be that you connect with somebody who is an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Maybe this is your boss who expresses romantic interest in you. But this can just be like a sense of empowerment for you, because the king represents the highest, you know, example of the confidence in the earth element. It is a card of financial prosperity, but in personal, like love reading type of situations, I tend not to de-emphasize anything other than how it would affect, you know, the relationship and things like that. And so you may feel like you know now how to handle this feeling of being stuck. Because that's what I see as the 8 of Swords. Having your hands tied. Feeling oppressed. The King of Pentacles is you kind of finding yourself again. Finding your inner power. Finding your inner royalty that makes you a sovereign soul. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And the outcome can be a new relationship with a person like this. And this person, by the way, especially if they are literally an earth sign, this is the kind of person you can build a life. One thing that I say, because I have read this, is that the fixed signs like Taurus are builders. And so whether or not they know it intellectually or not, the way that they approach life is they want to create stability in their life. And this also can be with relationships. A Taurus person typically does not want this kind of drama in a relationship because it's unstable. The number 5, or the 5 of Wands, it's a number of instability, a number of change, maybe constant change. And change is fine, but not all the time. Not if something is just constantly, if sometimes the people are getting along, but then a lot of times they're not. That's not stable. So the king can also represent maturity. So you may attract a relationship with somebody with a strong earth presence, who you really see the world, you see the world in the same way that they do. And that kind of feels good to you. And you and this person can form a relationship that is going to last. It's not an affair. If I had gotten, you know, a wand, one of the wands for a final card, maybe that would have been a fire sign, and maybe it would have been kind of an affair. Maybe you're with a fire sign now, right now, that you're fighting with. You know, I always think of Aries with the 5 of Wands. And it could be like Leo too, though. And it's just like childish. And you want something mature. Well, the King of Pentacles fits that bill. So it may be a lot less full of drama, but that's a good thing, isn't it? Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this, Taurus. If you'd like a private reading, the link to my website is below. Take care. Bye.